Hey everyone, welcome back to Measuremix. Thank you so much for stopping by today. If you're new to my channel and like DIYs and home decor and more, hit that subscribe button and don't forget the notification bell next to it so you don't miss out on any new videos. Now today I'm going to be making some Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor, and I made 3 pieces. Well, actually I made 4 pieces. 2 of them are the same and they go together. But anyways, I made all 4 of these pieces for under $20, minus the paint and glue, of course, but I just used whatever paint I had lying around, and you could too to recreate these DIYs. I think that they look really pretty displayed all together and would be great to fill up a wall in a living room or dining room or even a bedroom. So let's get started on the DIYs. For this first DIY, I'm going to be using one of these mason jar sign hangers from Dollar Tree, just removing the hanger, and then I'm going to take a box cutter and I'm going to cut off the handle, and then I'm also going to cut off the tip of the straw, and I just scored it until it came off. And then I removed the little lemon peels and I turned it over and removed the stickers from the back because I'm going to be using the back. Next, I just took a pencil and I freehanded the word love in cursive, and now I'm taking my hot glue gun and I'm tracing out that word love with my hot glue gun. This was a little intricate. You need to have kind of a steady hand, but it worked out in the end. I think it looks really good. But yeah, you can, if you don't like it, you can put it on and then you can remove it and redo it if you need to. So, but I wanted this 3D look for the love part, so that's why I used the hot glue gun. Next, I'm going to give this a galvanized look by using the colors metallic aluminum spray paint and the matte hammered spray paint. I just sprayed on the metallic aluminum first, and then while it was still wet, I sprayed on the matte hammered just sporadically, and this kind of gave it a little bit of a galvanized look. Now I'm going to take one of these galvanized buckets that say flower and garden on them, and I'm going to just use some outdoor cutters, and I am just going to cut the bucket up. So I just started down the middle and then I went around the bottom of it just to get a whole piece of the galvanized bucket off. Now I'm doing this because I want the lid on my mason jar to be 3D and I want it to have that more galvanized look. So I'm just measuring out with that lid on the mason jar and cutting it as I go along down to size, and then I did use a marker and trace around that so that way I could get a better shape, and then I did cut that out. Then I wanted it to have kind of a more bumped out effect, so that way it looked more like a lid. So I started to kind of bend down the top and make indents in the middle and the bottom. You can kind of tell what I'm doing here, hopefully, but it was pretty easy to bend this metal. It's pretty flimsy, so it wasn't too difficult, but I would recommend wearing gloves because after you cut it, it does get kind of sharp. So then I just trimmed it to get it the way I liked it, and then I came back with some hot glue and just put some hot glue on the parts that were going to adhere down to the mason jar. Next, I wanted to add a little bow, so I just took some twine and tied a bow, and then I just hot glued that to the top of my mason jar lid. And I did get this idea from Big Lots. I was out shopping around and they had a picture kind of like this for around $22, I believe. So I thought I could recreate it from Dollar Tree items, so that's where I got this idea from. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some foam board and I am just going to measure out a piece to the size that I want it to be, leaving enough room at the top because I'm going to make flowers coming out of the mason jar. And so I just cut that with a box cutter, and now I'm just using some leftover cream paint that I had, and I'm brushing it on to the foam board to make it kind of look like wood a little bit more. And then I let that dry, and I'm coming back just with some leftover gray paint that I had and a small paintbrush, and spacing out some planks that I am painting on with that gray paint and a level. Once that's all dry, I'm going to come back and I'm going to hot glue down my mason jar to the bottom middle of the board. Now it's time to add the flowers, and I just picked up some hydrangeas from Dollar Tree. I picked up 3 bunches of them, and I just removed the flowers from the stems, and I removed a few of the leaves from the stems as well. And then I just began to hot glue them down above the mason jar lid. Just the way I liked them. There was no rhyme or reason to this. I just did it and found a way that I liked it. Now you could paint flowers on if you wanted to, and you can use any type of flowers you wanted to, any different colors you wanted to, but I just thought this was the easiest to buy some flowers because I'm not the greatest painter. But I do love how this turned out. I think it's really pretty and very farmhouse, and it's kind of close to the original too, and it costs a lot less than that, so I'm happy with it. This next DIY was inspired by something I saw at LTD Commodities, and they were barn door mirrors for around $30 for both of them, but I thought I could create them for a lot less from Dollar Tree items. So I took 2 of these mirrored picture frames from Dollar Tree to create 1 barn door. Now you would have to take 2 more, you'd have to double all of these supplies that I'm showing you to create a second one. So I took those and I removed the mirrors and I painted the frames, and then I also painted 4 skewers, also with that cream paint that I used in the last DIY. And then what I'm doing is I just, after everything was dry, I put the mirrors back and I am just hot gluing together the 2 frames so that way they are hot glued long ways, if that makes sense. And then I just reinforced it on the back with some popsicle sticks and hot glue. Now I'm going to take the skewers and cut those down to size to create an X for each mirror, and then I just hot glued those down into place. Now that the X's were all finished and glued into place, I needed to work on the hinges and the handle to make this look more like a barn door. So for the hinges, I used some popsicle sticks from Dollar Tree, and I just cut 4 equal pieces, 2 for the top hinge and 2 for the bottom hinge. And then for the handle, you could buy a handle or use something you already had, but I'm going to use one of these wooden dowels and a couple of these wooden beads from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to cut the wooden dowel about in half, and then I'm going to take that smaller piece and cut that in half to get 2 equal pieces. And then I'm just going to use some sandpaper and sand down the rough edges where I cut off. And then I'm going to take the 2 smaller pieces and hot glue those to the bottom of the handle. And then I just took the 2 wooden beads and hot glued that to the end of the handle. Now I'm just going to go and spray paint everything with this oil rubbed bronze spray paint that I already had. And then after they were dry, I came back and hot glued the hinges to the bottom and the top corners of the frames and hot glued the handle down as well, and it was all done, and I think it looks beautiful. for this last DIY, I have seen this faucet decor with the buckets hanging from them pretty much all over the place, and I thought this over-the-door rack from Dollar Tree, if you turned it upside down, kind of looked like faucets. So that is what I'm trying to recreate here. So what I'm doing is I only want to be left with 3 hooks that are connected, so I am just bending and twisting and removing the other 3 hooks. And there was a part that I didn't get to record. I must have forgot to turn on my camera, but with the 3 hooks that I took off, I did go back and hot glue those down to the bottom end of the hooks. So there's 2 hooks opposite each other, if that makes sense, and you'll see that at the end of the video. Now I needed handles for my faucets, and I was literally in the toilet aisle telling my husband about this DIY, and I didn't know what I was going to use for handles, and he turned around and he said, "What about those wagon wheels?" And I said, "You know what? Those look like faucet handles. That's going to work perfect." So I'm just removing those wheels from the wagon, and I hot glued them to the top of each of the faucets, and then I gave everything a coat of oil rubbed bronze spray paint. Now for the buckets, I'm going to be using 3 of these Flowers and Garden buckets from Dollar Tree, but I want to remove the lettering from the back and the front of them. And I'm going to use some nail polish with acetone in it, and I heard that you could do this from J Money. You guys know who she is. She is awesome and does so many awesome DIYs. I love her, and she was totally right. This works out perfect, and I love how this DIY turned out. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed these Dollar Tree Farmhouse wall decor pieces. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.